I'm 78 years old. In about 6 weeks, I'm having surgery that I might not wake up from. The doctors say I have good odds, but at my age, good odds still means you write things down, you call people, you say what needs saying. This is one of those things. I spent 50 years chasing money, not because I was greedy, not because I wanted yachts or mansions. I chased it because I thought it would give me something it never did. And now I'm here with more in the bank than I'll ever spend, and almost nothing else. I'm telling you this because I see it everywhere. I see it in my son. I see it in the young couple next door. I see it in the way people talk about their lives like they're problems to be solved with the right salary, the right promotion, the right exit strategy. And I want to grab them by the shoulders and say, I did that. I won. And I lost everything that mattered. I grew up poor, not dramatic poor, just the kind where you wear your cousin's shoes and your mother waters down the milk. My father worked at a packaging plant for 31 years and died 6 months after he retired. I watched him come home exhausted every single night, watched him miss my baseball games, watched him fall asleep in his chair before dinner, and I swore I wouldn't live like that, so I worked. I got a business degree on a partial scholarship and 3 jobs. I graduated in 1969 with decent grades and a lot of hunger. I wanted security. I wanted my kids to never worry about shoes or watered down milk. That felt noble. It felt responsible. I got hired at a regional insurance firm in Columbus, Ohio. Started at $8,200 a year. I thought I'd made it. My wife Karen and I got married that same year. She was 22. I was 23. We had a 1-bedroom apartment with a fold-out couch and a landlord who fixed nothing. But we were happy. We'd stay up late talking about what we'd do when I made manager, when we could afford a house, when we could stop counting every dollar. Always when. I got promoted to senior associate in 1972, then assistant manager in 1975, then manager in 1978. Every step up came with longer hours, more responsibility, more pressure, but also more money. And money meant we were winning. We had our son Danny in 1974, our daughter Rebecca in 1977. I missed Danny's birth because I was closing a deal in Cleveland. Karen's water broke early, and I was 2 hours away. Her sister drove her to the hospital. I got there 4 hours after he was born. Karen didn't say much. She just looked at me, holding our son, and I saw something in her face I didn't want to name. I told myself it was a one-time thing. Bad timing. Bad luck. But I kept missing things. I missed his first steps because I was at a conference in Detroit. I missed his first day of kindergarten because I had an early meeting I couldn't move. I missed his 6th birthday party because a client needed me on a Saturday. Each time I had a reason. Each time the reason made sense. Karen would say, "He asked where you were." And I'd say, "I know. I'll make it up to him." And I believed it. I thought I was building something for them. A foundation. A future. My colleague Frank worked with me for 22 years. We started around the same time. Climbed the ranks together. He had 3 kids. Good guy. Worked as hard as I did, maybe harder. In 1991, when Frank was 46, his youngest daughter Sarah got into a car accident. 17 years old. She survived, but she had a long recovery. Broken pelvis, shattered leg, months of physical therapy. Frank took 2 weeks off to be with her, then came back because he couldn't afford to take more time. He had bills. He had college tuition coming. He had a mortgage. I remember him sitting in his office one afternoon, staring at nothing. I asked if he was okay. He said she asked me to stay home another week, just 1 more week, and I told her I couldn't. He worked for another 19 years, retired at 65, died of a heart attack at 67. At his funeral, Sarah spoke. She talked about how hard he worked, how much he provided, how much he sacrificed, and then she said very quietly, "I just wish he'd been there more." The whole room heard it. The whole room knew what she meant. I thought about that for maybe a week. Then I went back to work. My sister Linda lived in Arizona. We talked maybe twice a year, Christmas and birthdays, mostly. She'd invite me to visit. She'd say, "Come out for a week, bring the family." I'd say, "I will soon," but I never did. There was always something, a project deadline, a client emergency, a promotion I couldn't jeopardize. In 1998, Linda was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. She was 54. I flew out to see her once during treatment. I stayed 3 days. I told her I'd come back soon, that we'd spend real time together when she was feeling better. She died 7 months later. At her funeral, her husband Tom pulled me aside. He said, "She talked about you a lot toward the end. She kept saying she wished you two had been closer." He wasn't angry, he was just stating a fact. But it hit me harder than anger would have. I got on a plane and went back to Ohio. I went back to work, because I didn't know what else to do. There was a man in my neighborhood named Eugene. Lived 2 doors down for 15 years. Retired electrician, widower, lived alone. I'd see him outside sometimes, working in his garden or sitting on his porch. We'd wave, we'd say hello, that was it. One morning in 2003, I saw an ambulance outside his house. I asked a neighbor what happened. She said Eugene had died. Heart attack. He'd been dead in his house for 3 days before anyone noticed. 3 days. I didn't even know his last name. I remember standing in my driveway thinking, is that how it ends? You work, you retire, and then you die alone, and it takes 3 days for anyone to care. But I didn't change anything. I just felt bad for a while, and then I didn't. Karen asked for a divorce in 2005. I was 60. We'd been married 36 years. She didn't yell. She didn't cry. She just sat across from me at the kitchen table and said, "I can't do this anymore." I asked her what she meant. Like I didn't know. She said, "You're not here. You haven't been here for 30 years. I'm tired of being married to someone who's always somewhere else." I tried to argue. I said I'd worked hard for us, that I'd given her and the kids a good life. I said I was planning to retire in a few years, that we'd finally have time. She looked at me like I'd just told her the saddest joke she'd ever heard. She said, "I don't want time with you in a few years. I wanted time with you 30 years ago. I wanted you at Danny's soccer games. I wanted you at Rebecca's dance recitals. I wanted you to come to bed at a normal hour and talk to me about something other than work. I wanted a husband, not a paycheck." I didn't have an answer, because she was right. We divorced 6 months later. It was civil. We split everything fairly. She moved to North Carolina to be near Rebecca. I stayed in the house. Danny was 31 at the time. He came over the day Karen moved out. We sat in the living room, and he said, "You know this is your fault, right?" I nodded. I said I knew. He said, "I don't even know you. I'm your son, and I don't know you. All I know is that you worked all the time, and Mum was always sad." I wanted to defend myself. I wanted to explain. But there was nothing to explain. He was right too. He left after 20 minutes. We didn't talk much after that. Still don't. I kept working until I was 67. Not because I needed the money. I had plenty. I kept working because I didn't know how to stop. Work was the only thing I knew how to do. It was the only place I felt useful. When I finally retired in 2012, I thought I'd feel relief. Maybe even happiness. I felt nothing. Just empty. I'd go to the grocery store and see families shopping together, laughing over what cereal to buy. I'd see fathers with their kids at the park. I'd see couples having coffee, just talking, and I'd think, I could have had that. I gave it all away for something that doesn't love me back. Here's what I didn't understand then, and what I need you to understand now. Money doesn't compound the way time does. You can always make more money. You can get a better job, a bigger bonus, another promotion, but you can't get another first birthday. You can't get another Tuesday afternoon when your daughter wants to show you a drawing. You can't get another quiet morning with someone you love before the world wakes up. I thought I was building security. I thought I was being responsible. But what I was really doing was trading the irreplaceable for the replaceable. I was trading presents for dollars, and I can't buy it back. I have $1.4 million in retirement savings. I have a paid-off house. I have no debt. I also have a son who doesn't call me. A daughter who's polite but distant. An ex-wife who's kind when we talk, but we only talk twice a year. I have no close friends because I never invested in any. I have no hobbies because I never had time to develop them. I have no one who needs me. I'm going into surgery in 6 weeks, and if I don't wake up, 4 people will come to my funeral. Maybe 5. That's the cost. If I could go back, I would have taken the week off when Danny was born. I would have missed the meeting. I would have let someone else close the deal, because no deal I ever closed mattered as much as holding my son in the hospital while my wife rested. If I could go back, I would have said no more. No to the extra projects. No to the weekend work. No to the clients who expected me to be available every hour of every day. I thought saying no would cost me my career. It wouldn't have. And even if it did, so what? If I could go back, I would have visited Linda. Not once. 10 times. 20 times. I would have flown to Arizona and sat with her and asked her about her life and told her I loved her. Because she died thinking I didn't care enough to show up. And that's unforgivable. If I could go back, I would have learnt Eugene's last name. I would have invited him over for dinner. I would have asked him about his life. Because everyone deserves to be known, and I was too busy to know him. What I didn't understand was that being present isn't something you do later. It's not a reward for working hard. It's the thing you do now, while the people you love are still here, while they still want you around, while it still matters. I thought I had time. Everyone thinks they have time. You don't. Your kids will only be young once. Your parents will only be alive for so long. The people you love will only want your attention for a limited window, and when that window closes, it doesn't open again. I'm 78 years old. If the surgery goes well, maybe I have another 5 or 10 years. If it doesn't, I have 6 weeks. Either way, it's too late for me. The people I should have loved better are gone, or they've moved on, or they've built lives that don't include me. I can't fix that. I can't get those years back, but you can still choose differently. There are a few books I've read in the last 10 years that I wish I'd read when I was 30. One is called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying by Bronnie Ware. It's written by a palliative care nurse, and it's exactly what it sounds like. Another is When Breath Becomes Air by Paul Kalanithi, a young doctor dying of cancer, writing about what matters. The third is Tuesdays with Morrie by Mitch Albom, an old professor dying, teaching his student what he should have learned earlier. All of them say the same thing I'm saying now, just in different ways. I'm not telling you to quit your job or stop caring about money. I'm telling you that money is a tool, not a destination. And if you use it to build a life where you're never actually present in your own life, you'll end up like me, comfortable and alone. If this meant something to you, I'm glad I told you. I don't know how many of these I'll get to record. Maybe this is the only one. Maybe there'll be more. But I wanted to say this while I still could. If you want to leave a comment, I'll read it. If you don't, that's fine too. I just hope you choose better than I did.